Hello, my name is Mr. Schweich, and I want to welcome you to the Computer and Network Security Fundamentals course at Melbourne High School. This video will give you some information about the makeup of the course, as well as some policies and procedures we will follow in class. The course description is that this is a basic introduction to cybersecurity. We're going to have an emphasis on learning essential computer and networking skills, and the final for this course will be the Microsoft Technology Associate Networking Fundamentals certification exam. An optional exam for you would be the CompTIA Network Plus certification. Our class format is going to be a blended learning model. That means that we will utilize an online training platform called testout.com, and you can use that at home, you can use that in the classroom, anywhere that you have a computer and an internet connection. Something that I will let you know is that the videos work on pretty much any kind of computing device, so that would be a computer, a tablet, a phone. But the labs and the tests, you'll need either a PC, a Mac, or a Chromebook to access. I have three basic rules in any of my classes, and that is I will respect my school, faculty, and staff, I will respect my fellow learners, and I will do my best. These expectations are phrased as individual commitments, and I expect each student as a member of this class to take these as their own statements and use this to kind of help you understand the behavior that I expect. So if you're getting ready to do something, ask yourself, is this something that would be respectful for Mr. Schweich? Or is this something that would be respectful for the substitute teacher? Is this something that would be respectful for the classmates around me? And is this something am I doing my best in this? If you can't answer yes to those questions, then it's probably something you shouldn't be doing in my classroom. The grading scales is the same grading scale that's used pretty much everywhere in Melbourne High School. As you can see, 90 to 100 is an A, and each of them 10 points down for each grade level. There's nothing that one. Something that I do want to talk about though is in my classes I use a daily check-in, and so everybody's going to be required to check into my class. There'll be a form. It'll be very simple. Just a few questions, just to kind of help me understand where you're at so that I can support you appropriately in your learning. It will be due within in the first 10 minutes every day. So if you're going to be a face-to-face learner, what I would expect that you would do is you would come in and we'll do our opening procedures, making sure the computers are cleaned and ready for you to work. But then you should sit down, log in, and get started by doing your daily check-in before you go on to your testout.com materials. And like I said, it's just a few quick questions, just asking, how you're doing, what your mood is like, what you're planning on doing that day, and how I can help you. And each of those will be worth 1 point. If you are absent for the day, then there's not really a way to make up that work, so I will just, you just won't get points for that day. But if you forget to do it, it's very important that you remember to do these check-ins, because if you forget to do it, if you come into class and just get started on something else and you forget to do the check-in, there's not a way to go back and earn that extra that point. And then at the end of every week, we'll have a weekly checkout. And that is due by the end of class on the last day of the week, and that'll be worth 5 points. And so most of the time that'll be a Friday. And so if you come into class on Friday, and at some point during that class period, you should plan on doing your weekly checkout. You could even do that. You could, on Friday, you could do your daily check-in and then do your weekly checkout immediately after that, just to make sure that you get it done. If you are absent, let's say that you're absent on Friday, if you know that you're going to be gone, I would expect that you would do your checkout on Thursday. If you are sick on Friday, my expectation would be is that you do that weekly checkout as soon as you're physically able to do that. We will be using, as I said, we'll be using testout, and there's different sections in there, and each of the sections will be worth 30 points apiece. And the breakdown of that 30 points is just like this. There'll be 10 points for just for watching all the videos. What we found is that in these test out classes, that students do much better when they actually watch the videos. And so I'm going to encourage you to watch the videos by giving you a third of your points for each section just for watching the videos. Another 10 points will be given for completing all of the labs. 5 points for completing the practice question quiz at the end of the section, and then 5 points for finishing on time. The other part of the grade that you'll be getting is for the MTA Network Fundamental Certification Exam. Now, this is the final exam for the course, but unlike a lot of other classes, what happens in the CTE classes is we offer multiple chances for you to get this certification. And so, what will happen is we'll actually make our first attempt at this pretty early, with probably a month and a half left in this semester, and so you'll get a couple attempts. Everyone will need to take at least one attempt, with a maximum of 3 attempts for this year. Now, what happens is the passing score for the certification test is 700 out of 1,000. So if you get a 700 or better, that is an automatic A, or 100% in the gradebook. And the reason is if you get a 700, you get the certificate. If you get an 800, you get the certificate. If you get a 999, you get a certificate. So any of the passing scores will all result in a 100%. Now, for the other scores, if you score below a 700, the way I handle those scores is I take the percentage score plus 20 percentage points. So let's say that you score 600 out of 1,000, or 60%. What I would do then is I would give you an 80% in the gradebook. And if that was your first attempt at the certification exam, you would still have two shots to get that passing score. I do want to just point out that all certification exams, including the minimum 1 attempt, must be taken on site at Mel High. And this is even for our e-learning students. This is not a rule that I can change, because this comes from the Florida Department of Education. They have told all of the CTE teachers that any certification tests must be taken on site. And the reason is that there's funding money associated with these, so we have to be able to be 100% sure that the student taking the test is the student, or whoever's taking the test is actually the student that's supposed to be taking it. And the only way that they've given us to verify that is to have you physically in front of us while you take the test. So just keep that in mind, that if you are to get a grade for that, you will have to come in at least once. And for those of you, for the e-learners, what that'll typically be is, on an early release Friday, we'll probably schedule some time for e-learners to come in and take that certification exam. Also, any additional assignments and projects that I feel that are needed for remediation, for support, or for assessment, I will give those, and I will give point totals for those when they are assigned. All assignments are due by the end of class on the deadline. So if I tell you that something is due September 15th and you're in my first period class, at the end of that first period class on September 5th, you should have finished that section in test out, or you should have turned in your assignment to Microsoft Teams. Anything that is turned in after the close of that class period will be considered late. And late assignments may be counted at half credit at my discretion. So that means that if you turn it in late, it's up to me to decide whether or not I'm going to give you full credit or half credit for that. And by turning it in late, you're telling me that you are okay with getting half credit. And that doesn't mean that you can turn in something horrible and get half credit. What that means is that if you turned in a perfect assignment 1 day late, or 10 minutes after the end of class period, I give you 5 points instead of 10 points. Also, late work will only be accepted in the grading period it was assigned. So since we're in a block schedule, that means we'll be completing a 1 credit course in 1 semester instead of 2. And so our grading period is going to end at 9 weeks. And so if you have late work in the first 9 weeks, I will give you a deadline that will probably be at the end of the 8th week. And you have until that point to get any late work in. Anything turned in after that, I'm not going to go back and do some grade change forms for that because you had ample opportunity to turn that in on time. Participation. I will keep updated lesson plans and deadlines on Focus, on the side whiteboard in my physical classroom, and on Microsoft Teams. I encourage you to stay up, check those very often, and make sure that you're up to date with that. If you are absent for any reason, you are responsible for any and all work missed due to that absence. If that absence was a planned absence, my expectation is that you complete the work that was due before you leave. So if you know that you're going to be gone Thursday and Friday, my expectation is that you take a look at the work that's due Thursday and Friday and you finish that before you leave class on Wednesday. If it was unplanned, you will have the days absent plus 1 to make up the work. So if you're absent from my class from 2 days, when you return to class, you will have 3 days to turn in those assignments. That would be the 2 days missed plus 1. Tardiness. You are tardy to my class if you are not completely in my classroom and ready to begin work when the bell rings. That means if you are hanging out in the hallway and the bell rings and you move into my classroom, you are tardy. If the bell rings and you're moving about the classroom and not ready to prepare, not ready to start work, you are tardy. My expectation is that when the bell rings, you are ready to begin work. If the first tardy that you have in my class will be a verbal warning. The second time you're tardy to my class, I will contact your parents and let them know that you're having difficulty making it to my class. The third tardy is a disciplinary referral, and every subsequent tardy after that will get a referral. Hall passes. This year we have been instructed that there should be no hall passes the first 15 minutes or last 15 minutes of every class. And this is to allow our custodial staff appropriate amount of time to clean and sanitize our common use areas. And we want to make sure that we support them in their job. And so when you come to my class, expect that I will not be giving hall passes or excusing students within the first 15 minutes or within the last 15 minutes of class. When we do have hall passes, all of the teachers will be getting pads of paper hall passes, I'm told. And the procedure for that is that if you want to use a hall pass, you'll need to come up and fill out the pass and have me sign it. And then there will be a QR code at the door of the classroom. We can go over how you use that QR code, but you'll use your phone to sign out of the class and go use the restroom. When you come back, you'll throw the piece of paper away and sign back in. Or the QR code, that form will also be up on Microsoft Teams, and so you could choose to sign out and sign back in at your computer. Necessary supplies for this class. Because this is a video class, I will need you to have headphones with a 3.5 millimeter jack. This is a standard headphone jack. If you have an Android phone or an older iPhone, that would be just that standard headphone jack. The reason that this is necessary is, so just imagine I have 28 classroom computers, and imagine we had 28 students in here all watching their videos at the same time. It would become very difficult to understand anything in this classroom. So I do ask that you wear headphones while listening to the videos. I do have a few sets of inexpensive headphones that you can use if you're not able to get some or if you forget yours. But the problem is I don't have enough for the whole class, and if you wear them, then I have to go through a very specific cleaning procedure before another student can use them. So please plan ahead and make sure that you have a pair of headphones. If you have a problem getting headphones, please contact me as soon as possible and let me know, and I'll see what I can do about finding some inexpensive headphones that we can that you can use in class. Discipline. If you do violate the rules in my class, the very first step is a warning. I will give you a verbal warning, and I will let you know that what you're doing is not appropriate for my class. If we have another incident of that type, I will be contacting your parents, and you will lose class privileges related to that incident. And the third time we have to deal with that, it will be a disciplinary referral. Electronics in my classroom. I handle electronics a little bit differently than a lot of other teachers here. I don't personally have a problem with personal electronics like phones and tablets and laptops. My problem becomes when they are used in a way that disrupt learning. So let's just say, for instance, that you're working on an Excel project in my classroom. So this is going to be 30 or 40 minutes of typing. You're not watching a video, you're not doing a lesson, you're just completing a project. Well, that's a long time to go without any sort of um, external input. So at that point, I would be more than happy to let you listen to music on your phone while you're typing away. Now, the problem comes if you have to look at your phone every 3 minutes to change the song. Because there are just a lot of temptations that come with picking up your personal device. So, and also, just keep in mind that a lot of what we're doing in this classroom is video based. And so obviously I don't want you listening to music when you should be listening to the audio on the video. So just keep in mind that I don't have a problem with electronics as long as I don't feel that it's disrupting your learning. Also, classroom computers will not be used for online gaming. Over the last couple of years, there has been a major problem with malware being injected into some of these online gaming sites, and each one of the computers in my classroom was purchased with my program funds. And if the computer is damaged because you got malware from an online site, I'm the one that's going to have to pay for that computer. Also, these computers are all connected to a district-wide network. And if you get malware on your computer, it could potentially infect tens of thousands of computers all over the county. So because of that, we will not be using our computers for online gaming. The exception would be places like lumosity.com or typing.com. So if there's a site that you would like to use, please have a conversation with me about that, and we can decide whether or not that's a site that would be acceptable. If you use electronics improperly in my classroom, I will give you a warning. If I have to do it again, it will go immediately to a disciplinary referral. Some suggestions for success in my classroom. First, attend class every day and be on time. Numerous studies have shown that one of the best ways to be successful is to be there. And so I suggest that you plan on being in class as much as possible. And when you are in class, you show up on time. This is not only good for this class, but it sets really good habits for you. So when you get out into your career field, you've already established great punctuality and attendance habits. Because I will tell you right now, employers really like it when you show up, and when you show up on time, it makes them really happy to give you a paycheck. What I'd also like you to do is when we finish each day, just take a little bit of time to reflect on what you learn. And I know that some of these topics may not be the most fun to think about, for when you go home, but studies have shown that when you take a little bit of time to reflect on what you've learned, it actually you retain a lot more information. The next one is keep up to date on assignments. It is a lot easier to stay current on assignments rather than getting behind and waiting to the last minute to try to complete all of the assignments at once. The next point is ask and answer questions in class. You're going to retain a lot more information if you're having conversations about it, if you're processing it verbally. And so please ask and answer questions. And if you need help, please ask. I cannot help you if you don't let me know that you need help. And if you're not sure about something, you really need to ask me. I always say the only dumb question is the question that you didn't ask. Communication. This is for the students. I believe that it is important that high school students learn how to communicate with adults and advocate for themselves. I encourage you to communicate with me directly when you have questions or concerns. What this means is that if you're having a problem in class, if you disagree with a policy or a procedure or a decision that I've made, I would very much like for you to come and have a conversation with me. If you go talk to your parents about it and your parents email me or call me, I will be more than happy to have a conversation with them because they are your legal guardian. However, that conversation will end with, and if you would like me to correct the situation, your son or daughter needs to come and have a conversation with me. All of you are very close to, if you have not already attained adulthood, and I feel that it is my duty as your instructor to not only teach you about computers, but also to help prepare you for the real world. And in the real world, they're going to expect you to come up and advocate for yourself. So if you have any questions or concerns, if you're not sure what's going on, or if you, like I said, even if you disagree with something, please have a conversation with me directly. You can talk to me in class, you can schedule some time outside of class, or you can email me at schweich.jacob@brevardschools.org. That is the syllabus essentially for Computer and Network Security Fundamentals at Melbourne High School. I look forward to having you all in class.